Good morning, everyone. This is Zara D'Cotta with Architecture Talk Tank. And today we have a very early morning live stream with Zara D'Cotta. Zara, I'm really excited that you're joining me today. She is an incredible individual, extremely passionate, and I'm very excited to bring that story to you guys. I met Zara through a common friend, and I just really love how her story and how her life changed because of finding her passion and the story that led to it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and also the business that's kind of originated from all that change. So Zara, thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. It's so wonderful to be able to join you. It's the end of the day here in Australia, and I'm very excited to be able to talk to you and your audience on the other side of the world.
Exactly. And here it's early morning. So here we go. The whole world apart.
Exactly. But so awesome that we can still connect in this way. So thank you for having me here.
Exactly. So Zara, tell us about yourself. Tell us what was it, 1 year or 2 year of your life brought. I don't want to hint on anything. I think that the story is so interesting. We will all enjoy hearing it from the very beginning. And we'll talk a little bit about what you're doing now as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's actually started nearly 9 years ago, which is hard to believe, but it has been quite a journey to this point. And it began just before my 30th birthday. 10 days out from my 30th birthday, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was in a corporate career that I thought was my dream career. I was very lucky. My cancer was caught early. It hadn't spread, but it was a big wake-up call for me. I went to a health retreat. I learned all about, the harm that pesticides in food and harmful cleaning, personal care, cleaning products in the home that can do to our health. So I went on this big mission of phasing out all that stuff. I left my corporate career to follow my passion for health and well-being. I thought I'd learned all the lessons I needed to learn. And then 2 years later, I was diagnosed with melanoma on my second breast cancer anniversary. Again, was really lucky. It hadn't spread, didn't need treatment. But after that, I lost a really close lifelong friend to cancer. And even though cancer hadn't made me sick, I suddenly had like 20 plus different symptoms that no doctor could diagnose. And that led me on a path of asking questions about why all this had happened to me and why all these symptoms. And in a nutshell, I discovered that I am one of the 1 in 4 people who are genetically susceptible to mold, and probably have been sensitive to it and lived in water damaged buildings all my life. But the radiotherapy, the treatments, the surgeries that I'd been through had heightened my sensitivities, which meant they were on the extreme end of the scale. So not only water damage in buildings, but also electromagnetic fields, toxins in our environment. My body couldn't cope. And I spent 5 subsequent years on the move from Melbourne to Sydney, and then up to northern New South Wales in search of a home that would enable my body to heal, all the while feeling very unwell. When I finally got to northern New South Wales, where I'd been dreaming of living since this all started, I moved into this beautiful, brand newly built home near the ocean, and I woke up after my first night here and my eyes were stinging so intensely. I had to get out of my house. I had a rash for the first few months and bouts of nausea, and I still had mold symptoms. So at that point, I was feeling very disillusioned, and I realized that, if old builds were no good and new builds were no good, then I needed to understand how building materials might be contributing, how home design might be contributing, so that I can work towards building my own healthy home one day, and also help other people make better choices in relation to their builds. So I started studying building biology, specifically healthy building materials and healthy home design. And one of my assignments was to assess every single material that had been used in the interior and exterior of my home. And it was literally hundreds of hours of research, mountains of evidence about the health and environmental impacts of building materials that are used in homes all over the world. And I was blown away, and I thought, you know, not only the average person looking to build their own home, but architect, builder, building designer, interior designer, you're not taught this. No one's taught this stuff unless you seek out the information yourself. So I decided I needed to make this information available in an easy to understand way for people who are building homes. So that led to the creation of the Build a Healthy Home e-course at the beginning of last year for residential clients. And I also felt it was really important to create community for people who are planning builds, and give them access to industry experts. And I had an architect that was part of that first round who came to me after he'd been through it, and he said, this is actually really valuable and important information for people working in this industry. And he encouraged me to set up a course and a group specifically for industry professionals. So that led to the creation through last year of the Healthy Building Materials Mastermind for architects, building designers, builders, and interior designers. And we've had 2 rounds of that. And I think the most unexpected and most wonderful thing that's come about as a result of all of this is the incredible humans that I have met that fill me with so much hope. They are my real life superheroes that have committed to learning and, starting to implement what they've learned on projects has just been awesome. So that's a 9-year journey in a nutshell.
That's really fascinating. And I mean, let's just go back to this whole crazy story that what you experienced with mold. Just one question, like, did you finally find a place that is mold free, or how did you go about it?
Well, no. Even my house now, it's 95% humidity here at the moment. Even though I'm 300 meters from the ocean, the passive, it really hasn't utilized the fact that it's near the ocean to capture breezes for passive ventilation. The building materials, I guess from what I've learned about building materials, there are other materials that could have been used that would actually help regulate humidity levels, but it's like a sweat box. I'm sweating quite a bit at the moment. And I do really struggle at this time of year health-wise, I suspect, because mold proliferates in environments above 60 to 70%. So if you live in an environment that's more humid than that at any period throughout the year, it's likely that there's mold.
Yeah. I mean, I am in Spain right now at the bottom of Pyrenees, and actually I didn't even expect the winter to be this wet. There is a lot of condensation, and sometimes clouds are just coming really low and staying for days because they're kind of just trapped between the hills and they don't want to move away. And I noticed that there is a big problem of mold here too. And when I went for my Christmas vacation and came back, I found mold all behind my bed. So I had to spend literally a whole evening with bleach just cleaning it because it's my bedroom, and I slept for a week in the living room, but this is just a normal European apartment, and you can't escape it. So I also, having experienced that recently, I thought about how harmful was the way to treat it. The only way that people say that really kills mold immediately is bleach. But, I obviously purchased gloves and I had to spend at least 2 hours inhaling all of this whilst washing it. So there is the mold issue, but then also all the sort of chemicals that you have to use in order to treat it. If your house is prone to developing mold, it can happen on a basket where you keep your laundry in the bathroom, or just anything really that can easily catch the mold, wood, those sort of things as well in the house. So it needs to be like our houses need to be designed differently. And I, because I've told you that in the past, but I've been very I dedicated about 10 years out of my life into natural building and building with earth and bamboo. meant that I also lived in natural buildings, and that was in Guatemala, where again humidity is really high. It's sort of jungle environments, but the houses, they can breathe better, and
they can. And
yeah.
it's say that there won't be mold in natural materials because they can come with their own set of challenges, but being aware of how each material performs and how susceptible it is to mold, so that you can make informed decisions in relation to your build. And a staggering statistic is that 40% of new builds in Australia have condensation and mold related problems.
Yeah, that's incredible, especially that, new builds, I mean, a lot of times they're kind of houses, when you look at them on the pictures, it's like, oh yeah, this is what I want. It's a new house. Yeah, but unfortunately, the building science behind it doesn't match the design always, and there's so much more to look into.
Yeah, that's building science. It's I kind of liken it to a chef not being taught about nutrition, but being asked to make healthy meals. Well, how can they do that if they don't? And it's not people in the industry's fault that they're not taught it, but it's like it needs to be a compulsory part of training for architects and builders and building designers.
Mm-hmm. And specifically with natural building, just wanted to comment on that indeed, like any other building, it can be susceptible to mold. However, the actual walls breathe. And that's the difference, that even if you have your windows closed, you will have still an exchange of air happening through the walls. And so normally what happens is that the house kind of works in osmosis almost with the environment on the outside.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we say that, when it's really hot, the house will be a bit cooler. And when it's really cold, the house will be a bit warmer. And that constant exchange of an information, so to speak, between the inside and the outside helps a lot with regulating temperatures and regulating humidity as well.
Yes.
And I think that specifically with earth in building, earth can be a bit damp and still not develop mold. We see that a lot with in gardening, for example. Not always you have mold issues when you water your plants. There are certain molds that can develop, but I think it's that concept of actually understanding a little bit the way that a natural building works, that it's like an organism, and understanding to work within that. Obviously, it just takes a little bit of a different mentality to live in that building, but I think that a lot of things can be solved. Mold has to also happen when there is no circulation of air. Now, again, like, if you design a natural building with more awareness to circulation, there can be a little bit more passive and a little bit more active circulation within the house too. And I find that a lot of times people that already choose natural materials, they have a little bit more awareness generally of those topics, how to build natural materials. Did you find that as well?
Sorry, that people that build with natural materials.
Did you find that when you started to study natural materials and work with people also that build with natural materials, that there is more knowledge as to how to create better circulation and basically ventilation in the house, etc.?
I would say there definitely is more awareness, but I feel like I have spent a fascinating few days on a natural building site learning all things natural building, and we had representatives from with experience with natural building, expertise in building science, passive house. I was there providing the building biology viewpoint, and what I saw was a real need for a coming together of people with these expertise to collaborate on projects to get the best outcomes, because what became evident was we're all looking at things from such a different lens, but they're all equally as important.
Yeah, exactly. And it's true.
Things
So,
like, building on the right foundation for the site. Like I see homes being built on a slope or at the bottom of a valley on concrete slab, and then there's going to be rising damp problems, or homes with no eaves or eaves that aren't adequate to protect from rain. So the building materials are going to become water damaged. Basic things like that that are being overlooked a lot in Australia, from what I see.
absolutely. So tell me a little bit about this whole experience of putting together a course and deciding to share that knowledge with others.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that it became important for you to provide that information and an ability for people to educate themselves around how they live in their homes and how to live healthier. It's a very brave, I think, undertaking to create a course straight off the back of learning it yourself.
Mm.
Because you did it very close to each other. So, did you struggle with, thinking, "Oh, am I the right person to do this?"
Oh, yes. It was.
I find a lot of people sharing that with me as they create online courses, and
I
yeah,
tell
tell
you
us a little
what,
bit about that experience.
creating an online course is a huge personal growth experience.
Mm.
I had created another course the year before for people who want to make their existing homes healthier, and I found a lot of discomfort in that. And then I had the idea for this course, and massive imposter syndrome, massive discomfort. Who am I to be doing this? I found what really helped me was having a few key people in the industry who are builders, building designer, who are really supportive of what I was doing. And also, I was very clear from the outset, I was not positioning myself as an expert, merely the guide to share what I've learned, in the hope that I might help others and provide access for my participants to industry professionals with expertise in different areas to be able to answer questions.
Of course. And
Yeah.
anyway, you surrounded yourself by architects and people that could give you the inside knowledge and
Yeah.
feedback. But
And I
still,
think,
you say you still struggled with the syndrome. I find that to be specifically common for people that do decide to create online courses, because this whole aspect of leading with your expertise is very prominent, even if you're not the expert, but taking that knowledge and positioning yourself in a place where you're a teacher obviously takes that on you. So we first need to sort of meet that within ourselves to say, okay, yes, I'm okay with that role. But
yeah,
I love how you said that you decided to call yourself more a guide. Did
yeah.
that help? Was that a way to go about this?
Yeah, I had a mentor that years ago said to me, "You do not need to be the expert. You're here to guide people. You're here to help them navigate their way through a topic that is very complex and technical and can be quite overwhelming." And my background was in corporate communications, and my last corporate job was at a oil and gas services like engineering firm. And so that's something that it's my skill set, like making sense of technical information and distilling it down and making it really easy for people to understand.
Yeah. So you use that basically to create this project. And I also think that your background in PR communications helped with the marketing side of things to understand the potential of what it means to create an online course. Because
Yeah.
in many, and this is also why I'm so in love with this topic, is because it enables you to basically help a lot of people and bring value. But it doesn't have a geographic limitation. You can work with people around the world,
Yeah.
providing your online course, because the internet makes it so possible. And the information sure can be relevant for a lot of people around the world. So out of a
Yeah.
sudden, a lot of times when we create like physical businesses, we look at the immediate impact on the community that we're contributing to, and also from economic perspective. However, here, there is really no limitation. So the business can be broader, and
Yes.
obviously it has more earning potential as well, as long
Yeah.
as the problem that you're solving with your product is relevant to the audience.
Exactly. And I think the other thing that probably the thing I've loved most about this, as I mentioned before, is the sense of community that you can build, like global or local communities that have the same values and interests, which given, for 2 years we've all been separated from each other, I know the people that have taken part have really valued that a lot and want to continue collaborating the way they've collaborated, supported each other, shared knowledge about their businesses behind the scenes. And this is, for me, like, yes, a big part of the course is empowering the homeowner and industry professionals, but it's also about creating an impact so that we can start to increase the demand for healthier, locally produced materials and reduce the demand for toxic ones. And it's the homeowners and the industry professionals that have taken part that are asking better questions of suppliers that are going to really drive that shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And somehow in the middle of all of it is you and your course with your beautiful story that actually originated all of this. And I love that, I love the fact that you decided to somehow turn it into value for others and actually make it into a business as well. So I'm curious to hear a little bit more about the sort of business and entrepreneurial experience in that journey. How did you find that, from a perspective of how that transformed your career, perhaps looking forward into the future? I'm guessing you're not coming back to sell the petrol industry.
No, and I tell you what, I left my corporate career to be 8 years ago this year, and it's really only now, sort of last year, that I really feel that I've hit my stride and figured out what I'm meant to do as a result of these experiences. There's been a number of different things that I've done in the last 8 years, all health and wellness and healthy home related, that not necessarily something I've worked out about myself is I'm someone that needs to work out if something's right for me by doing. Like, some people will spend lots of time analyzing whether they try something, but I just need to, I have an idea, dive straight in and then go after a year or two, no, that's actually not what I'm meant to be doing. So yeah, it has taken me a while to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but now you're here, and what is sort of your vision? Are you going to do another cohort of the course and continue teaching the community?
Yep. Yes, there's another cohort of the mastermind kicking off in less than 2 weeks, and another round of the residential course kicking off in Feb. And I'm going to add it now that we've had some easing of restrictions and borders closing here in where I live. I'm going to have an in-person event as part of the next intake for building industry professionals, including alumni from the previous round, which I know that they're all very keen for. And yeah, I've got some other ideas and things I want to bring to life in this year. But this is really pouring my effort into building this community of industry professionals this year.
Yeah, this is excellent. I love the fact that you found a way to serve the local community with something that is so extremely valuable. And you're not an architect, but I just want to comment on how great of a perspective that gives to also architects who provide design services. When you create a community like that and people come to you for knowledge and understanding how to better create and construct houses, if on top of it you actually provide design services, I wouldn't see a reason why people wouldn't ask you to do that, so you to design that house, now that they're educated around healthier, better living. And so I'm guessing that would be an incredible way to actually market your practice, your studio, into the local community, as with an angle, that can really unite people around that value of living healthier and better. So what I'm kind of saying is that there is this kind of value-driven marketing somehow in all of this for the community that you can build around. I know that a lot of architects I know are, creating either lanterns or trying to get involved in the local community so that people know that they are the architect and can come to ask for a house or an extension. But this is a different way to provide value and position yourself in front of people. And I think that once that relationship is created with all these community members, it's almost a no-brainer for them to come for design advice and design services to people that are so engaged and in helping them living healthier and their community live healthier too.
Yeah.
So yes,
I've developed a huge amount of respect for architects, building designers, builders, because I'm not a conceptual person. I'm good with words and content research, and the level of detail and especially if you're running it as a business is it makes my head hurt a lot. But what I do also do is for people that want one-on-one support, I do reports. So I'll research the site, looking at climate, topography, external health hazards, and then put together a brief, talking through passive design characteristics and design suggestions to reduce the likelihood of condensation and mold, reduce EMF exposure, and then suggested materials. So that provides the client with a great starting point to be able to begin their discussions with their architect or their builder, like a really thorough brief, taking into consideration any health concerns that they might have. So yeah, I see myself as someone that would work alongside the designers and builders.
Yeah, and within all of that, there is also that service that you provide where I'm guessing a lot of the clients that will do the course will also hire you to help do that evaluation.
Yeah, there's been some great discussions and collaborations already in the works with the participants from last year, which has been awesome. Yeah.
Excellent. That's brilliant. That really is so interesting. And I know that you work with local architects too.
Yes.
Amazing. So what is next for you then? You say that you got a next cohort coming in 2 weeks. If anyone is interested to learn about healthy homes and specifically deep dive into materials, then I think it's it would be great, really, even if you're an architect and you already have that design background, to take a course like this. So you can connect with Zara, and I'm sure she'll direct you in the right place for that. Yeah, Zara, tell us a little bit more about your plans.
For the next cohort, you mean? Or yeah. So it's an 8-week program, and I've found that having a small group is the best format. So it's a maximum of 5 participants. So because we have calls every fortnight to discuss the learnings, and I found that the knowledge sharing that happens works best in a small group and really builds a strong sense of community and collaboration.
Incredible. So where do people find you, Zara, if they want to find out more?
If you can email me, Zara at thehealthyhome.global, or I'm on Instagram just under my name, Zara D'Cotta, or one word without the apostrophe. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm pretty much on all the social media platforms.
Excellent. And you guys also have a link to the website in the description of this live stream. Yeah, exactly. So you can go and check Zara there and then find her contact details on the website. Zara, thank you so much for joining me today to tell your story. I love how you also turned it into a business now and basically creating these online courses and value for your community is sort of connected with your passion, but also doing something really valuable, I think, that can really change things for people. So I applaud to that, and thank you so much for sharing with us your story, and I'm wishing you all the best in the
Oh,
future
thank
with
you.
these projects. Yeah, and thank you. I'm sure we will be still in touch. If you have,
Definitely.
yeah, if you have more information about the course, also you can send me. I'll share it with my community too.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and talk about my story and my work. I'm really, yeah, I'm very impressed with you and what you're doing in the world. So yeah, it's been a joy to chat to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you guys as well for tuning in the early morning stream today. And I'm wishing you all a great day.